Need to take a deep breath before this begins. Hey there, artistic whistleblower. How are you? Did you see it or hear it, I should say? Misty, hi. What a rough day it's been. Hey guys. Oh my gosh. So I got up this morning. I'd been out late last night with my kids. We saw Cirque du Soleil, and I got home and actually wasn't feeling really well from the dinner I ate. So I was up till 12:30, and I knew what today was going to be, and I knew I wasn't going to get a lot of sleep. So I got up, looked like hell this morning on my Instagram. Started searching right away for the audio file. I don't know how those other YouTubers got it. Good job on Scott Reich and Jay for Justice, and there was another one that somebody had posted on my YouTube channel. How did they get that? That's crazy. Like, I don't. People have like special connections or something. I have no idea. But man, were they prepared with some thumbnails. Scott Reich has his like, you know, part 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 already ready to go. Very professional. Like, good job, you guys. Yeah, I'm just flying by the seat of my pants here, really. So I was thinking that I wasn't going to get this information until after work. I was sort of relying on Misty, and she did send it to me, the link to the video. I keep saying video, the audio file. What I did find before I left, I'm on Pacific Standard Time, I found that you know, Denver News had it in their hands, and I was thinking, well, maybe they're the only ones with it, or like, you know, the big networks. But then again, like I said, it wasn't very long before I was in my car on my way to work, and I was already listening to it from these YouTube channels. And so I thought Denver News was only going to release little bits of it, and I was like, wow, was I kind of surprised that we were able to just load it up on YouTube and listen to it in full, the full 5 hours. It's really easy to find for any of you that are trying to find it. So I very indiscriminately tried to listen to it throughout my day at work at Aptos High as a PE teacher. I kept my earphones in and just started on my way. I started driving in my car and pulled into McDonald's as it started to get a coffee, and heard Tammy and Graham meet Chris in the room, and it was so jovial. It was almost strange. I mean, it was strange. There was a lot of kind of like, I don't know, almost felt like nervous laughter from Tammy's part and Graham's part, like, hey, thanks for meeting with us again. Yeah, remember us? You know, I don't know, it was strange. By the way, I wrote down like literally 4 or 5 pages of notes, and I have 2 different jobs, and I knew I was going to be doing this. I'm sorry, I'm going to get to your comments, you guys, but I left them all at work. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants on memory here, and just well, I'll get to that. So I start listening, and you know, and I'm thinking, okay, this has to be that they're just buttering him up for, you know, to get some information out of him, and you know, it clearly does not seem that this is something that Chris called about himself. It appears very clearly that it was them coming to him for more information, and he very willingly spoke for 5 hours, not hesitantly. I mean, he's trying to help. He truly is. So anyways, they start getting into it, and let me see what you guys say right now. Hold on. It says I'm offline. Let me get into my live so I can see your comments. Okay, there we go. For some reason, I thought I spelled Chris wrong. I thought I spelled it with 2 S's. I'm like, oh, that's gonna look really bad when that comes up live. Okay, so let me see your, here we go. Michelle says, mind blown. Michelle Farnham, totally. I think actually he's a really easy person to get along with, to tell you the truth, and I don't think there's any reason for them to be, you know, really negative towards him. In fact, I think like some of the negativity that's been, I'll get into it later, but the guy's harmless. I know he's not harmless because of what he did, but in general, he's a pretty darn harmless guy. Get to all that later. But anyways, And it was a very sad day. Of course, I can't think of one question that they didn't think of answering it to him. God, I messed that up. They didn't think of one question to ask him that we weren't needing an answer to. I feel like, I don't know. Are these all questions that they came up with on their own, or have they been privy to all of these YouTube videos and they're very aware of all the speculation and all the guessing that's been going on, because they were thorough. They asked him everything we could think of. I thought they were going to miss the one about him going or telling his employer or fellow employee about not worrying about going out the next day. I don't know how many of you watched it, or I keep saying watched or listened to it, but they're not excuses to me. He sounds incredibly honest, and I think that if you hear that part of it, he's not coming up with lies. It's all very forthcoming and comfortable the way he's speaking. Sounds like it was a total coincidence. It really does. I know we've kind of painted him as this crazy, insane, devilish monster, but I think a lot of this stuff, even the song wasn't even, it was just, some of the stuff was coincidental. And I when you hear him talk about it, you see, there's a different perspective for sure. But so, oh my God, there's messages or comments here. Let's see. Hey, Mr. Don, nice to meet you on Instagram. Hello, Nicole. Hello, L. Pearson. Watched about 60%. I think I've watched 75 to 80%. I keep saying watched. It's audio only for those of you that are just coming in. It's not, you can't see anything. But here's a picture of Chris that they've, oddly enough, Tammy asked if she could take a picture of him, and she told them that it wouldn't be for social media, that it's just for the record. And I thought that was so funny because, of course it was for social media. And it's kind of sad in a way because he just believes everything. Yeah, he basically goes with whatever, of course he goes with whatever they're saying. This is what he looks like now. For those of you who haven't seen him yet, he said they wanted him to change his look so that the inmates would maybe not bother him as much. He talked about shaving with a really dull razor, and they talked about how funny that was. They kind of joked about that. That was a little weird, but again, a lot of that could be just them trying to get real comfortable with him. I'm sure they have lots of tactics for getting him to speak, but I don't really think they have to try real hard. I think any way they come at him, he would be willing to speak. He's not a difficult person to deal with in any way. He was very, very easy to interview, I think. He was just sharing. It's like he wanted to help them. He wanted to give them as much information as he could. It was so difficult to hear Sarah, for sure. Hi, Janie. Hi, Laura. Oh, Laura, you're still my moderator. I came into my room tonight because somebody wrote on my channel this morning and said, I'm another one of those horrible YouTubers who's got a dog barking in the background that needs my attention, and my son's behind me and witnessing me crying to nothing, basically, because obviously we can't hear you guys. And I told my son that, and he laughed, and he said he's protesting tomorrow. So anyways, I just thought I'd come up here where it's quieter anyway. My son does not care at all. They put in a request to Weld County. Okay, so Tammy and Graham did. All right, that sounds very plausible. I'm going with that. I know, there's so much to get to. When I started listening to it this morning, I was like, wow, we can literally talk about every single sentence. I wonder how all the YouTubers are going to break this down. I have a feeling that, no, I was going to say Armchair Detective, but not him. True Crime Loser. I think he'll probably do this all. I bet he'll do it all in like hourly sections, or maybe even half hourly, and have like eight sections. But who knows if everybody can handle that many days of it? I don't know. Sick to my stomach is what Michelle says for sure. I've felt sick all day, honestly. Okay, so they talked to him about, first of all, Trent Bolt and this woman Amanda, all the crazy people out there that are saying they have associations with him. And I'm totally convinced that those were crazy people. I really do. And I did a video about Trent Bolt and said it's very plausible that that could have happened. After hearing him speak about it, and a lot of people will watch my video now and they're gonna say that they think that he's full of crap and he's making up lies. I'm going based on just a gut feeling, and I don't feel like he's making that up. I truly don't believe that he had affairs with this Trent Bolt. It sounded like it was just, as he says, Nikki, and I really believe that. He's not expected. Let's see. He is not what we expected. No, he wasn't, was he? He sounded really. I don't feel like even if they yelled at him, he would have been upset. I feel like the guy is just so. It's weird to say it because we know what he did. Take out what he did out of the equation, and he sounds like a really gentle, nice man. I mean, that's why this all doesn't make sense. I sat there and talked to about 8 of my kids in PE today and told them so much of the story, and we all come back to the same thing, that it just doesn't make sense. Well, especially his daughters. Okay, Annie listened to all 5 hours. And I'm glad they went back to him after lunch. They had more questions. They really, really dug deep and went and asked maybe things that they even skipped over the first time, which really would have been the second time. But, you know, they interviewed him initially. They had a lunch break, it seemed like. I was listening to a couple different YouTube channels, but it sounded like they had a lunch break, and then they came back after, and then there was like, wait, maybe they missed that. So they got everything. Thank you, Kevin. Oh, hey, Kevin. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. So yeah, it sounds like they got like, I mean, I really felt like they asked everything we've had on the internet. Okay. So Trent Bolt, dude, what an ass. Like, what a waste of everybody's time and energy. I hope you enjoyed your stupid game. I'm sorry I have a video up about him. What an ass. I don't know. I'm kind of considering taking that down. And probably would make sense, but I might have had some other stuff in that video. I want to double check it, but yeah, that's just what an idiot. So they go into basically how it all started. Of course, there was an affair that began, something that he never really thought would be more than flirting. He was feeling very guilty about it, and really it turns out that this kind of like attention that he was getting is something that he hadn't really felt before. He said he didn't when he was. I'm fast forwarding a little bit, but when this affair really was in full swing, it was when Shannon was gone with the girls. And by the way, I hear her name is Shannon, and Shannon, so I don't know what to call her. I've been calling her Shannon, so I don't know. I'm kind of sticking with that. And so, yeah, so when this went into full throttle, the affair, he was with her every single night. And so he said in that time frame, he kind of didn't feel like a dad anymore. It was like he was like a new person kind of with her. And so in that I get that he was like totally confused by this affair. And she was also a really strong, or, you know, Nicole Kessinger is a very strong, you know, personality. But she liked him for him and wanted to hear things and his opinions and stuff like that, which I guess he wasn't getting from Shannon. So then fast forward, Shannon comes home with the kids. He's got the kids. It was this business trip. I mean, like so many have thought that, again, I still don't think Nicole Kessinger was ever involved. So I'm not even going to like, you know, entertain that. But I think that, and my gosh, it clears up the fact that the girls were not killed. Not that it makes any of it any better, because this is actually a worse scenario, honestly, and that's why I truly feel like it's the truth, because why would you make up an even worse, more horrific scenario? So they weren't killed in their sleep, they weren't killed at home. Yeah, and if you've listened to it, you know now what happened. So okay, so Shannon comes home, and she did not take her makeup off that night. Now we know that, because he claimed that, and he said that there was a heated conversation. Or maybe, no, she came home, she had not taken her makeup off, she climbed into bed with him, he felt her get into bed, he felt the nudge, and then, wow, surprise, surprise, apparently she starts rubbing his leg and other things, and they had sex at 2 in the morning, which was a little bit of a surprise. So like, Graham was saying, and it was funny because Graham goes, so she did what? And like, he goes, I'm not trying to be like, you know, trying to dig for like dirty information, but like, can you kind of like explain that? And he goes, well, yeah, like she was like rubbing my leg. And again, the way Chris explains everything, it's so, that's why it doesn't feel like a lie, because he so speaks about it. There's no hesitation. He's just speaking these, like he's telling his story. So she rubbed his leg and other stuff, and then it happened, and then Graham goes, he goes, oh yeah, I get that. I'm like, what are you letting us know, Graham? I don't know, it's just kind of funny, like, yeah, I get that. I understand that thing. That happens to me too. So anyways, they have sex, and somebody had said, did they ever check her for semen? And good question, because that would kind of clarify whether that did happen or not, but I didn't hear that. If anybody heard that, let me know. I'm kind of just talking here, and I'm sorry, I'm not really reading stuff. I'm just kind of, because I'm just trying to go from memory about what I remember. Premeditation, I don't. No, after today, I don't think there was any premeditation. No way. Because that whole thing, the only thing that really made me think it was that message to the other employee, and he really seemed kind of confused. Like, he was like, oh my God, no, like he explained that, and he like explained why he'd gone out to that site. Like, it was very detailed, and it didn't seem, he didn't seem nervous about it. It was like, and he was like, and he goes, oh yeah, like, no, like there was no nervous laughter. It was just kind of like, that was a coincidence. Clearly, he didn't even really get what they were getting at, which was sort of interesting. Michelle says Graham and Tammy just floored her. He wouldn't lie with these horrific details. No, why would you, like, why? It's like, that's the worst thing we could even think of. And he knows that. He knows that. It's really sad. And I'll get to it, but I really truly believe that this is like, I think this was an incredibly traumatic event. And once you realize you've got a dead wife in your house, and that's something that doesn't compute, and your brain is now not it's like, this is not making sense. This was, I don't think it was, I mean, he said he woke up after, because he did go to sleep after they had sex, and he said he woke up and something in the back, and I had it written all down, but something in the back of his head, there's something telling him that he was gonna do this, and it wasn't gonna stop. Of course, they really tried to ask him why he climbed back in on top of her with the pregnant stomach, and like, that's kind of an odd thing to like straddle your wife. They were really questioning him about that, like, why would you get in that position? But he was like, yeah, I don't know, like, I just did, like, whatever. But so then he had his hands around her neck. I guess they started arguing. The triggering words were, and I guess in those moments, and he did mention the credit card thing, that he knew that the affair was going to have to come out because he just used the credit card the night before. He knew that was going to be a topic of discussion. Lori says too, she thought it was premeditated, but not anymore. Isn't it interesting? Like this really changed a lot for me. And it honestly made me feel a little bad for being, I know it's weird, but I know people aren't going to like this, but I feel bad for like, kind of like, making a spectacle of him a little bit. I think the whole thing's really, really, really sad, including him. I think it's a big mess in his head. So anyways, she says, I guess they, let's see, they're in bed after the sex, they go back to sleep, but then he wakes up. He even said he went downstairs and made his like breakfast for the day. Like, he mentioned cottage cheese. It was just like, oh yeah, I was going down, like, he was a simple guy. Like, he had like a pretty simple life. He went to work, but he's got this new confusion of the affair. So he describes this moment where she says, you're never going to see the kids again. And it triggered him. And that was his moment where he grabbed her around the neck, and he said he doesn't even know. Like he said, they described in court that would take 2 to 4 minutes. He's not even sure. It might have taken longer. He's not even like totally clear. He said it was like something, I mean, you guys, here it is in People magazine. It said something like he couldn't let go. Like there was like something that was like holding him. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so he says, like the whole, everything, here we go with like the whole, everything that happened that morning, I don't know, like I try to go back in my head, I'm just like, I didn't want to do this, but I did. And then he says, everything just kind of like, it just felt like it was, I don't even want to say, it felt like I had to. It just felt like there was already something in my mind that was implanted that I was going to do it. And when I woke up that morning, it was going to happen, and I had no control over it. But there was a part where I know he said that he felt like he couldn't. Okay, he says it was like picturing someone around you holding your hands, holding you and keeping you from letting go. That's what he told them. And so Shannon dies, and now he realizes she's dead, and now he realizes, and he does say, he realized, I don't know if it was in that moment, but he knew that his life was now forever changed, and this was very bad. And he did some things that maybe we, in shock, maybe wrapped her up in a blanket or the sheet, of course, the bed sheet. And then Bella walks in and says, what's wrong with mommy? And he says, because we know all this from yesterday, the day before, that he said she's not feeling well. We need to take her to the hospital. And apparently he tried to take her down the stairs in the sheet, but she became too heavy. And he had to drag her the rest of the way. He loaded her in the truck. Sorry, I'm going to read some of these. Don't want to go too far ahead. I don't know. I'd really love to hear a professional after this, get a professional opinion, and see what somebody says, because I don't know that I believe this narcissistic thing. I don't feel like he did this today for attention. I think he's trying to help. I think the guy in him that wants to like always please everybody is trying to do what he can do to help. I didn't get that he was trying to, I don't know. I mean, I know it's still, I mean, he did cry during the interview, and he does say that he thinks about those words every single night, Daddy, no. Right before he killed Bella, he did say that. She said that to him, which I think that we knew that. Finn, come here. Okay. Oh, hey, Happy, you haven't heard a chance to listen to. Okay. So some people haven't heard it yet. Okay. So he could be lying if the details were more horrific than that he premeditated it. Joe Tacoma, why would you make yourself even more of a monster if it wasn't true? That's what I've said from the beginning. I totally. Okay, so he apologizes. Wait, what? Someone says he apologizes to Graham. Wait, hold on. Where was that? Dang it. I found out the other day my boyfriend was on the live and wrote like 4 comments. I didn't even know he was on the live. I missed all of them. I felt so bad. Okay, so I think he's on autopilot. I think right now, when he's now murdered his wife in the house, and that, I can't even imagine. Like, I've wondered that so many times, like, not in that moment. Now, nothing's real anymore. Like, you're in cuckoo land. Like, you're carrying your wife's dead body out of the house. Your kids are witnessing this. Like, I do believe that he was temporarily insane, and like he said, nothing made sense. And he said that, what was the word? Nothing registered. And so I think he was on autopilot, honestly. So he picks up the girls, puts them in the car. The trip down to Cervi, 319, I think it was, 45-minute drive apparently. The girls are sitting, he said they kind of sat on each other, like they kind of took turns and they were leaning against each other, sort of falling asleep at times. They had blankets, and he said that, and obviously not car seats. And I guess Bella did keep asking about mommy, and did they fight before he killed Shannon? Did they fight before he killed Shannon? Yes, that was when he was straddling her. They had an argument, and about, his affair. He didn't say who it was or anything like that, but apparently that came out in those moments. And then she said, well, I'm going to make sure you never see the kids again. Oh, and back to him strangling her, that she didn't fight back. And he said, I don't know if she was, like, he quoted from the Bible and about that moment, and it's like, it's unclear to him why it was so easy. And he said that, like, he doesn't recall holding her arms down with his legs. He was like, I don't, like, or the sheets, like all these scenarios that people thought were so devious, and that so many of us had thought that he had really gone to like extra lengths to like make this, so much like more like thought out than it really was, and it sounds like it was just so in the moment. And anyway, she said that she would never let him see the kids again, and so that was his trigger, and that was when he said he put his hands on her. So where was I going with that? I had a point about that. That she didn't fight back. And he said he knew when he took his shirt off at the police station that they weren't going to find any defensive wounds, because he knew there weren't any. He knew. He was like, yeah, there wasn't going to be any because she didn't do anything. So, which is shocking to everybody, because even her dad said she would have fought like crazy. And it's like, yeah. And they explained to him, do you know that if you push down on the carotid artery, even after a few seconds, it could like stop the oxygen, it could. And he was like, I don't even, like, he didn't seem to understand any of that. It's like he just was, I mean, it's really weird, but in a way it almost seems like he was possessed. It's just, I don't believe in that stuff, but it does almost seem like he was possessed. Like he just didn't know what the heck he was doing. So he's completely running on autopilot, and I'm sure reality isn't really making sense. He's driving out there thinking, they said, on your drive out there, were you thinking of a way to get rid of the girls? Did you already know you were going to kill your girls when you got there? And he said, no, he didn't. Like, he said he didn't know what he was doing. He really didn't know what he was doing. Let's see. I wonder if Nicole was lying about knowing him being married. I feel like she might have known, yeah. Very simple guy, very socially awkward, and his emotions are different. He reminds me of two different people I've dated, like, and I guess like I've see that personality. God, it's so interesting, the lack of emotion, and the socially awkward, and a people pleaser, and a nice person. These people weren't violent that I knew, and it would be very weird if they did anything violent, but I know this personality. I mean, it was guys I've dated. Oh, and they got into the nut gate, as he kind of, jokingly called it. But he was really open about his mom and Shannon not getting along, and how that has affected him. And, but yeah, I don't know if I want to get into all the family stuff right now, but he didn't want his parents to know yet. I don't think they knew any of this before he gave this confession on February 18th. So obviously they know now, but it appears that was the first time he gave that information to anybody official. I don't believe he'd told his parents. He snapped for sure. Still can't figure out why. Okay, so yeah, and even he doesn't have an answer, which is, I don't know, I think is very telling, because he talked about this is my own flesh and blood. I love my girls. Even like no man should ever harm their children. Like, he understands these things. So he gets there, he pulls Shannon out of the truck. Apparently she's laying in the sheet on the side of the truck. I'm trying to kind of like follow through to see if this is what I'm remembering from today, and see if you guys make sure you catch me if I'm saying anything, if I'm skipping anything or missing anything important. So then it sounds like it happened somewhat quickly, and this is the part that they're asking. I don't know. I kind of wish they could have dug into this a little bit deeper. Like, what was it that made you smother Cece? Like, but he explained exactly where it was. She was in the back seat, and Bella was right next to her, and he took I cannot remember if it was the favorite blanket or if it was I don't know why I feel like it was a sports team blanket, but regardless, it was a blanket, and he covered her face, and they asked him if it was like this, and they must have shown their hand over her mouth or something like that, and because they said, was it like this? I think this is probably what they did. I don't think he wanted Cece to see him, but he covered her entire face, it sounds like, with a blanket, and he said, did you push her into the back seat when you did this? And he said yes, and he held his hand over her mouth, I guess, until she stopped moving. He doesn't know how long anything took. I think he was in another frame of mind that we can't comprehend, because I think everything was, like he said, he knew after Shannon died that everything had changed. And he knew
nothing was going to be the same. I think he was literally, by the time he got home, he was just, he was running on anything he could. Like, he didn't even know what he was doing. That's why it was such a mess. He didn't even know, and he was just going with like lying about everything, which was just coming off so terribly. So he does this to I'm trying not to cry because I don't want to once I start, then I can't stop. So I'm kind of trying to like block out the emotion while I talk about this. But see, then I say that and I get a lump in my throat. He takes Cece up to the well, and they asked her, they asked him, are you sure she was that she wasn't alive? And he said that for sure she was not. Yeah, without question, kind of like, oh no, 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 she was not alive. Put her through the top, and they asked, of course, because this has been talked about on social media so much, or on YouTube, was it a tight fit? Do you feel like you had to really push hard? Did she fit through the well? Well, and he said he didn't recall that it was anything too difficult, that he, you know, it wasn't like he had to push her through. Like, I think he was kind of like meaning like I didn't have to push her through with like my foot or anything. It wasn't like that tight of a fit. And so she went in, and then he went back to, Lorraine says, poor Bella. When he went back to Bella, who clearly had probably started to understand. I think she's understanding kind of what's going on here. And she says, I wrote it down. I think it was, please don't do to me, or what happened to Cece gonna happen to me? And he said he doesn't remember how he answered, and he said, maybe like a horrible person. I said yes. And he goes, but I don't remember. And he just said that, and he said she said it in her soft voice. And there's something just so innocent. And just hearing the word soft voice, she wasn't screaming, she wasn't hysterical, she was trusting her dad, even though the most horrific things were happening around her. And he took the same blanket and did it to her too. And Tammy got into the details about her autopsy and explained to him that her frenulum was torn. She said it was gone, which is that little piece of skin right here. And she said, do you know why that? And she had to kind of explain to him like what that was. And he said, well, he didn't really understand like why that would be broken. He hadn't really understood like that had happened, which was in the it was during the sentencing. So maybe part of that sentencing he was just blanking out because it was so much stuff to hear that he was probably maybe just having trouble taking it all in. I don't know. But he yeah, the real question is why. Yeah. So he said that he didn't know that happened, but he said, could it have been from her body thrashing? And she said, well, yeah, that's very possible, like her head moving back and forth. And he said that, he said that, he that she had moved her head, and he knew about her biting her cheek, and he said, I wrote it down, but I don't have it in front of me, that something about her making grunting noises, and that when they stopped, I guess he knew that it was over. And he doesn't know why that he put her in the other well. He doesn't even know why he did that. Sarah, I do not, and never thought he was a narcissist. Thank you. I mean, I've been saying that for the beginning. I'm not. This isn't a I'm right, you're wrong kind of thing, but it's just never made sense to me. And I've had so many people like write on my channel and just go crazy about the narcissistic covert thing, covert narcissism. And I've been kind of quiet about it because I don't know. I just thought these are some pretty heavy titles. And I don't know the guy. Everybody could have been totally right. Maybe they still are, but I don't know. I don't see it. And I really, like I said, I'd really love to have, I wish some expert would come forward and say what they think. I'm sure he would be very, very, like, the guy is so, like, he's in jail for the rest of his life, and I know no one cares. That a lot of people say, too bad, he should be, like, executed by his, I don't know, hang him by his toes and cut him up or whatever. But he's taken it pretty well. I mean, he feels he deserves to be there. He doesn't really know why he did what he did. He seems thankful for the food they give him. I mean, it's all pretty pathetic, honestly. I feel like he should be there, but I feel like many things all came together at once, and it's just the whole thing is tragic. The whole thing is a mess and tragic and sad. All of it. Yeah, the trauma perhaps, gay gamma guy, hi. The trauma perhaps from killing Shannon could have blackened him out, a brain malfunction, and he killed his girls. I mean, it's like, I feel like he was a zombie or something, and he doesn't, like, it's like he says, he goes, I've always wanted to be a dad. I always wanted to be a dad. He goes, that was my flesh and blood. And he goes, and he said, no matter what, because there was something Graham said, and he said, it still doesn't ever excuse what I did. Nothing will ever excuse what I did. He doesn't want to press charges about, also against, like, Trent Bolt or Amanda. He's like, they have their own reasons for doing what they did, and hopefully they can figure out why they needed that attention. I mean, the guy doesn't seem to have a mean bone in his body, and so that's, again, why this all feels so tragic. Melissa says, I think we might see in the news that he's committed suicide. I wouldn't be surprised, especially if he's admitting all his guilt. I don't know. I feel like he's trying to find, like, really, like, goodness in his life in any way he can. I feel like he's found religion, which, that's good for him, if that helps. And he's trying to find peace. He wants everyone to have peace. Hi, Hannah. This just seems so out of his character. I was going to actually read, Hannah, if you don't mind, can I read what you wrote on my channel? I liked what, if it's okay. Hannah, are you there? Vigil. I'm sure I can say it's okay to read it because it's public. So, yeah, thank you. Hannah and then another person had written, I mean, I gotta tell you, this is not the popular opinion. People don't want to hear that he's not a monster. And I wrote that on my channel. Is he still considered a monster? And, okay, Hannah says, I don't believe he is a monster. I think he committed heinous acts, and he is taking the punishment he deserves. I have an unpopular opinion, but I don't believe in good or evil. I think the best of people can do horrible things. This is just the empathetic person in me. In my opinion, Chris did evil things, and he has the rest of his life in prison to think about it. Part of me feels bad for him. He self-destructed his own life, along with many others in the process. That being said, it's time to lay this case to rest. It's time to allow Shannon and her beautiful children to rest in peace. It's time to allow the Rusicks and even the Watts family the time to heal and move forward. We can all hold our loved ones a little tighter and keep Shannon, Nico, Cece, and Bill in our hearts and send healing vibes to the families. I think Chris is so detached because sometimes that's how our brain processes trauma. Granted, it's trauma that he brought on himself, but I believe disassociation is why he seems so removed from what he did. I found that so well written, and really makes me, I said my feelings exactly. And another person, The Life, responded to that, and I just want to read that really quick. She responded to Hannah's message and said, I am one of those rare people who shares your view and my view. Evil is nothing but the absence of good. Sometimes human beings do what is good and wise, and sometimes we fail. I do believe some people were so unloved or unsafe, so young, that they do not trust the world anymore and are unable to see or tap into the good in it. Some people lose sight of it only momentarily. Psychotic break. There is good and there is trauma and heartbreak. In this country where people are not propped up by government, individuals carry large burdens people can break or bend, and we can't know who and we can't know who all the time. Where we differ is, I think, that the discussion should remain open until such time as the public feels we have processed it and are ready to move on. This case has traumatized a nation. For sure. So, thank you, Lorraine. She agrees. We're not saying we agree with what he did in any way. Clearly, none of us agree with what he did. But it's a different perspective that I don't think a lot of us saw, and I think we all wanted to put him in the easy category of just being a monster because it helps us deal with what he did. But I think it explains so much about how he acted afterwards, and he even said, I don't even want to see the footage of me on the 14th in that room. He goes, I know I should have been a man on my knees crying. My children had been killed. I should have been a mess. And he's kind of saying, it's awful what was coming out of me. It's not normal, and he just really couldn't explain it. It's nice to see some people saying that they agree. That's awesome. Jen, exactly. We can't understand him because we don't have that brain and lack of spiritual goodness. Nicely put, Hannah, for sure. Flaw Pan. I haven't called him a monster from the beginning, and I will continue to not call him a monster. What he did was monstrous. Eric Shampoo, people acting randomly. That's my boyfriend. Hey there, I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, I think what he did was a monstrous act. Lori says hi, Eric. And evil, I don't think he's an evil person. I think he had a moment of temporary insanity. And I just think it's so, I mean, most people, I don't think anybody can really, there's still so many questions, but I'm still going with how I feel about it. Even though, I mean, it's like, in those moments of him doing what he did to his girls, I kind of wish they dug a little deeper and said what was going through your head in those moments. Let's see. I'm going to lose some subscribers for not saying he's a monster. I know that's for sure. And like I said, what he did was monstrous, for sure, what he did. Him as a person, as he says, like up until that point, he was always a certain person to everybody. And he realizes that what he did is going to change that forever now. This moment in his life will forever change the way that he's viewed, even though he had 33 years of a life that really was who he was until that moment. And now he's going to be judged on that one moment forever now. It's like that entire resume of his life is erased. It doesn't matter to most people. Interesting crime queen. I have called him a monster. Mixed feelings now. It's been that kind of day, right? It's totally been that kind of day. Like, I mean, I love True Crime Loser, but honestly, I felt bad about calling him a lizard face now. I mean, I'm like, I feel a little bad. I mean, yeah, it's a weird feeling for sure. Let's study him. Freddy could have been brainwashed, so the people at the top will put a stop to us finding out. See, that's just more conspiracy theory to me. I don't think so. But I did find it fascinating that Tammy and Graham, boy, did they have, I feel like they wrote down everything but about, questions that were being thrown back and forth on YouTube. They were very thorough. Let's see. Thanks, Kieran. Was that, hey, you are one of the best persons I know. Please don't cry. I don't know. I've done pretty well so far. I've got it together. I didn't cry all day. If I knew one here, I probably would cry talking about the girls for sure. Let's see. Tammy and Graham. Gosh, I wanted to see that more of them. Please, can we please have a 2020, like an hour of them picking their brain, knowing, wanting to, even 3 hours, I want to hear all about what they've been thinking with all of this. Of course, we want to know how this all came about, what made this happen. It sounds like they've let Nicole Kessinger go, or some people, I don't know, some people think no. Let's see. Did they bring up the picture of the sheet over the doll? I don't believe they did. I don't think they did. Again, but they brought up Metallica, the Metallica song, and he said, oh yeah, like he just was like, oh yeah, like Nikki liked, he goes, I was a Metallica fan, but she liked that song, and she was asking me about the lyrics, so I looked it up, and they said, so you didn't look it up that day? And he goes, no, like it was like, like that. So somehow that came out that he'd been looking up those lyrics like somewhere in between, I don't know, in the midst of all of this, like, but it sounds like it wasn't. The daycare thing, did they ask about the woman that called the daycare? No, they didn't ask. I never knew if that was fully clarified that a woman called. He called and said the kids were, they could be taken off the list. So he didn't, I guess he thought he wouldn't have to pay the fee for the next month. Again, just a bonehead move. I just think the guy wasn't thinking straight at all. Hannah says it's okay. I feel like most of us are grieving this family today for sure. All of them. Oh, Eric and Alyssa are agreeing, because I know Eric has said from the beginning too that Eric and I can have very different opinions on things, but we both have felt that something, that it had to be some kind of breakdown, like a mental breakdown in some way. And he said nothing was adding up and nothing was making sense or registering. He used the word that it wasn't registering. And they said, did you ever consider maybe this is like a whole family pact, like the whole family is going to go all at once? And he said, I can't remember, he said that would have made sense. But it just didn't end up that way. Oh, and he talked about that he had to relieve himself by the site. And he mentioned something about the sheet, and he was kind of like, I'm sorry, he was kind of embarrassed about it. Did he use the sheet to wipe his butt? Is that what he was saying about that? I was really having a hard time hearing some of this, because some of it I listened to on my just straight up out on my phone, and then sometimes with my earphones, and I didn't get the gist of that, but I thought that's what he was saying about the sheet. Thank you, Yvette. She says I'm so cool, even with snot all over my nose. She's loving it. I'm wiping it on my shirt. Again, don't think the Thrive Patches. I don't think the Thrive Patches had anything to do with it. I'd love to do a YouTube poll on that. Because if they had something to do with it, why wouldn't they be affecting everybody in that way? I mean, I really don't. I don't even think they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is help people lose weight. I mean, no offense, but I don't think they really are doing even that. I don't know. I think he ate better, and he was working out all the time. Yeah, would a PET scan of his brain even show anything, though? Can you imagine if they found out that he had a brain tumor? I mean, maybe there was something that had affected his judgment. It is illegal to lie to the FBI. It is illegal to destroy evidence. Yes, that is partially why that's part of his sentence. And obstructing the evidence and moving deceased bodies, and I believe lying to the FBI might be one of his counts as well. The lack of sleep, true. I mean, the guy had not slept much, for sure. He'd been asleep up until 2 o'clock, had sex, went back to sleep for a little bit, but then got up for work. I felt sick, because I'm running on not very much sleep today, and I kind of kept thinking about all these things that he was getting up and trying to run run like a normal life, but he hadn't had enough sleep from the night before, really. A lot of things, but this is a brain issue. When you die, no, your brain actually releases. Oh, the girls on the drive did say that it smelled in the car. Trudy says, no, he pooped at another site. but the sheet had some what on it from Shannon's release. Okay, because the girl said it smelled in the car, and she said, "Oh, Nicole lied to the FBI and destroyed evidence." Gotcha. Okay. True. I mean, she definitely. I don't think she was forthright about some stuff. Not that she was part of the murders or anything, but she definitely was not forthcoming about some stuff with him, I think. Yeah, and she deleted stuff. True. Yeah, I mean, yeah, why aren't they on her for that? They should be doing something with that, I think. Hey, John. He just said, I watch your videos and now you're live streaming. I am. Yeah, the girls said that it smelled in the car. And he said they mentioned that many times, and they said, well, could that have been because when you pass away that you might evacuate, and meaning she may have lost control of her bowels, and that sounds so very plausible for sure. But he said no, and he didn't think that's what it was, because even though he was aware that that could be the case, he said it smelled like a skunk. And then they said, well, was it inside or outside? He goes, well, he wasn't sure. So he said, no, it was like a skunk smell or something. And that is, we all know what that smells like. Maybe sleep deprivation, psychotic with a Thrive burn. Let's see. California streaming. That's me. Mr. Don, we had a funny little conversation on Instagram. All this time I've imagined him as a white-haired, older white gentleman. Like, I've kind of like overweight. I don't know why I had that in Mr. Don. Maybe I know a guy named Don that's like older. I don't know why. Anyways, he was on my Instagram, and Mr. Don is a thin, I'd say, I don't know, 35-ish black gentleman, and in good shape. Totally not what I had thought. But anyways, nice to meet you on Instagram. That was kind of funny. We had a laugh about that. Let's see. What does Masked Crusader say? NK does need further investigation. Yeah, I think so. They asked him about that whole thing in the very beginning of the interview about if he had any conversation, if he's having any kind of like letter writing with her, and he was like, no, God, no. And would you want to talk to her again? And I think that's what they asked, and he said he wanted her to know that he was sorry about how this has, what he's done, how it's affected her most likely, and that she might have had to move out of state. And he wanted her to know that, and they said they would relay that information to her. But I don't think there was anything else about him and her. But he clearly wasn't. It wasn't all about him. Like, yeah, I miss her. And Kevin Hamilton says someone was shot in a bank at a local business in my town today. The people who did it were arrested at gunpoint in the parking lot of my job today. It was super scary for me. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. That's awful. Being shot and guns is not fun. I'm a victim of a gunshot. I know how that is, and I'm glad it wasn't you. He fumbled his words. We're talking about her. I'd have to listen to that again. I think that was just, for me, I felt like that was just that initial like nerves with the whole interview, because it was kind of like this awkward, like, hey, how's it been? How's it been? I mean, what do you ask a guy who killed his family and has been in jail for 3 months, and you're coming back to like try to get some more information from him? And friggin' A, like, again, Graham and Tammy, thank you so much for getting all these questions answered for us. Like, God dang it. I mean, they're never going to see me say this, but if ever in a million hundred years they did, thank you so much for doing this and clearing so much that we're all losing sleep over. Really, truly. There's still people that think it was premeditated. Stephanie. I mean, he did say when he woke up, he knew he had to do it, that he didn't know why, and he just felt like he needed to. I don't know. I mean, to me, the whole thing with the message to the coworker was the smoking gun, that it was premeditated. But when I heard his explanation for it today, I retracted that feeling. I'm like, no, it doesn't sound like that was premeditated. And I thought about it. Well, if he went out and dug the grave the day before,
because I thought about that too. That would have been picked up on GPS. They would have known that he'd already gone out to that site, and I don't remember hearing anything about that. Um, Again, Nicole just bores me. I don't feel a lot of people really get. No offense, I know a lot of people really want to know more about her. I don't. To me, she's just not a big part of the equation. To me, it's just about him and his family. I don't really care about her so much. Um, oh, who does artistic whistleblower love? Crime Queen. Yes, we love them. Tam and Grammy. Oh my God, I did it again. Graham and Tammy. Tam and Grammy. Oh my God, I can't believe I just said that. Tam and Grammy. I'm so sorry. Tammy and Graham. Well, it is close. Let's see. They would have asked him why he sent Shannon the picture of the dog. Me too. That's a good one. That's a pretty big one. They should have asked him that. It was probably another. It probably was just another coincidence that meant nothing, that we've all kind of gone crazy with in our heads. But Tam, yes, I know, Tam and Granny. He was out of gift cards. Artistic whistleblower says Janet bugs me because she broke the law, and major case, no one gets off for this. Yeah, I get that part of it, true. But I don't care if I ever hear about it again. I kind of don't. Or her. Yeah. I wasn't impressed with her from the beginning, so I guess the hearing more about her is just it's not impressive to me. She isn't. And I mean, I don't know. Do I wish her well? I don't know. I don't really think about it. But if there was no Nicole Kessinger, Shannon and the kids would be alive. No, I don't believe that. I think you can have an affair without killing your wife and kids. So, who's to say who the affair ever would have been with? To me, she didn't make him kill his kids. Most people don't go to that place, and they have affairs all the time. So, I can't blame her for that. Was it good that she was having an affair with a guy that was married? And no, of course not. It's freaking not okay. But that's never, I just can't put the two and two together. What he did doesn't add up to having an affair with somebody. It just doesn't make sense. Obviously, it's part of why it happened, because that was in his head. He knew he didn't want to be married anymore, but you don't kill your family over that. Okay, so Hannah says, also he said he subconsciously kind of knew he was going to kill her. I still kind of think he planned on killing her. I think the kids were an afterthought. I think family pressures added to there was a lot of family pressures for sure. For sure, yeah. There was times where he didn't talk to his family for like 3 weeks at a time because he was always siding with his wife, and it was affecting him. He definitely talked about that, and there was this last Facebook post about the nut thing that she'd posted it, and it was something. It was kind of, I think it was done in an underhanded way maybe, and he didn't like it, and he could see that it was like she was taking shots at his mom, I guess, and he was kind of it sounds like he kind of had it with that, and he was tired of it. It sounds like it's been difficult with them. That strained relationship was always there, and I think he was really tired of it, and he liked that with Nicole there wasn't any of that. He was just Chris. He wasn't a dad. There was no strings anywhere else. It was just this one person. And I think that was enticing for him. I wouldn't even say now that it was like even hearing him talk about Nicole, I don't think he was as, well, I don't know. I mean, I think he was in love with her, but I don't think he was as, I really felt like he was so obsessed in a way. But he talks about like that Rockies game, being asked to go to that, and how he looks back at that knowing that, well, for him, he felt like that was a sign from like God saying, you need to take this road and not go with her. And he knew in that moment he really needed to go to this Rockies game. And he said he said, I had signs all along the way trying to tell me to stop, not go in that direction. And he goes, and I chose the wrong direction. Like, I think that's interesting to know. Let's see. Yeah, Nicole should not be likening herself to Amber Fry. No way.
they handled the situation completely differently. Mr. Don, I wonder what type of effect it would have on these types of cases if they did away with the child support alimony system. We will never know, but I wonder how much of a factor it is. Yeah, it's like I've talked about it in my last video, divorce and all the financial part that, I mean, he was saying in his interview with them that, you know, she was saying she would have to move out of it to another state because she didn't make enough, and he said, well, you make literally the same as I do with Thrive. You make as much as I do, and you could survive out here. And but yeah, it just goes into the whole part about alimony and child support, and I've been through it, and I know it's an awful process. It's called the something, God, I can't remember what the name of it is. It's like the something meter that starts with a D, and they literally just drop these numbers in, like even down to like how much you spend on, you know, laundry every month. It goes in and they factor this whole thing in, and it spews out like at the end, this is what the father must pay you. And it's really kind of a really gross like system. And I don't know, I remember going through that, and if anything changed, you'd have to go through the process again and add up all the numbers, and they spew out this one number, and that's what dad owes. It's kind of gross. I mean, our system's doing its best to try to make things fair, but I know it's not. It doesn't always seem fair. Marty, because I've just from the beginning, if you're only coming to this, you said, I found it really interesting that you asked a CW monster. What did you mean by that? I meant that, is he a monster? Well, I kind of just got into this all in the beginning. His actions to me were monstrous, but I think, I don't know if you're just joining, but I feel that he was, I don't feel like he was in a normal state of mind when he did what he did. So I've never called him a monster, and I still won't. What he did to them was monstrous. His acts were, but I don't think that he, in general, take away what he did to them. I don't think that he is a monstrous person. I don't think he was leading up to it. I don't think he is now. I don't think he should be in jail for what he did, but I don't think he's like a threat to anybody. I don't think he's like a violent person. And apparently those statements he said, they talked about the fights between him and Shannon. The neighborhood reported that there was screaming and stuff. Apparently those were retracted. I hadn't heard that before, but they talked about that in this. Let's see. Please wish my friend a happy birthday. His name is Nick Ga. I feel like Nick Ga is like, or is it Nick Gar? I don't know. That's funny. There's a Nick Gar that writes all my stuff. Happy birthday. It's my sister's birthday today. Happy birthday, Vicky. It is. It's my sister's birthday. Let's see. I think he planned any of the murders. He still is a lizard, though. True crime loser is gonna. I want to get my popcorn ready. Not that I want to. I don't know. I love his spin on everything. He finds a fun way to kind of like see all of this, and I like his Dr. Phil impressions too. I'm not on drugs. I don't think he's a violent person. This one act does not equate to the whole person. I don't think that he's a violent person. You really think that if he was let out of jail, you'd have to worry about him killing people? I do not. I think this was an isolated incident. But what he did was violent. Yes, what he did was violent. What he did was awful and monstrous and horrible and the worst thing in the whole world. But I'm talking about who he is after it, and after he was out of this, who knows, psychotic state. He's not mentally ill, Lorraine says. He flipped unless you have flipped out. I wanted to read what the rest is, what she said. I don't think we can, I don't think unless you've been in that, like, reality of, sorry, my phone froze up. I don't think we can understand what his brain was trying to comprehend after she died. He's now, like, I've wondered that the whole time. You killed one person and then you did it 2 more times? Like, how did you ever even know you could even do that once? And, like, how did your brain you're now carrying your dead wife through the house. Like, that's not normal. That had to be like traumatic. And like he said, it was like a traumatic event. Um, Lori agrees you guys get screwed, and as women, I don't think it's fair. I understand that. My ex and I split before my daughter's birth and never went for child support. I feel that we need to take responsibility, in my opinion. Definitely an isolated incident. Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing leading up. That's why the whole thing isn't so completely mind-boggling. Because there's nothing leading up to it. He even knows that. He knows he said, I've never even been in a fight. I don't even like go hunting. Like, I don't know. I'm not a violent guy. And so, and then you have all that, and then you go, and then you see him, like in my head, I see him strangling his daughters, and I'm like, why? Like, why? Like, what made, I don't get it. I don't think he gets it, because I don't think he was all there. Like, what made him think that that was the right decision? You could still drive away with them alive. Like, what was the point in killing them? I, I don't know. I still don't think that he gave any kind of real clear explanation as to why. Sleeping at her place. Yeah, he was sleeping at Nicole Kessinger's for like that whole month that Shannon was in North Carolina. I just got out of class. Someone said, what did I miss? You're going to have to go back to the beginning. He let the devil take possession of him. Hospice nurse. Wait, I'm a hospice nurse, Lorraine says. Don't kill bugs, but after decades of abuse, I can see... Oh, darn it. Your message is cut off. Eric. Are you still with Bernie right now, Eric? It's late. It's 10:30. You really... I don't think Thrive caused his weight loss. If it did, I think his wife would have looked different. And I know she did eventually get pregnant. Oh, and they talked about him finding out about the pregnancy and how he didn't look very thrilled. And he said at that point, he and Nicole Kessinger were just having a flirtation. And I don't think there'd been anything physical at that point, but he was feeling a little like, he knew it was wrong to be flirting with a woman at work, but he was feeling like a kind of like, excited about it and confused by it. But at that point, he was not having an affair with Nicole Kessinger. So when Shannon gave him the thing, he said it was really unexpected, because he said, we literally just talked about the idea of a third kid and then it happened. He was like, with Bella, he said it was almost like we were ready to give up. I think he said something like that, like they'd tried so many times. And with CC, I guess Bella had worn a onesie that said on the back of it, I'm getting evicted, like out of the crib, kind of, because there needs to be room for a new baby. So I guess there was something cute about, like, there was a video of that, and he asked Tammy if she had seen that video, and I guess she's like, oh, I remember you telling me about that, but I haven't seen it yet. There was a lot of giggling from Tammy. Tammy giggled a lot. Like, it's a little, that part is weird to me. I mean, I think part of it truly is that she's, I don't know, I feel like they like him a little bit. I mean, I do. I mean, he's kind of a sad guy. He seems really like, like, every time I want to say nice, I know people are going to jump on me, but, he did seem like just a nice guy in that interview. But anyway, he talked about the fact that when she gave him the stick, they had just like talked about it. And he goes, and then all of a sudden, it's like, wow, we're pregnant. Like, damn. So I guess it just was a surprise. He wasn't really ready for it to happen that soon. I guess he hadn't really mentally given it enough thought that it was going to be really happening, because they got pregnant like right away. And that's where that reaction came from. But I also, in the back of his head, there was a flirtation with this woman that it had not started yet, but there was a flirtation that he was feeling guilty about. Yeah, he said it was bothering. Oh, we're not receiving any data from your encoder. Please make sure it's configured. This might have stopped. Did I stop streaming? You guys still there? I guess it's still there. I lost oh, there we go. Okay.
Killed them out of fear. Okay. Wait. Eric agreed with that. Was that you don't want Bella and Cece to tell on him? He never said that. He should have said that. It's true. Ah, that's true. Definitely could have been that. I would like to know what Michael O'Rourke has to say about this as well. Interested to hear. He didn't think that he'd ever hear a confession, and there it was. I don't. It's surprising to me. No offense to the person. I just saw someone that said it's all lies. He's a liar. Um, I I don't know how you can hear that interview and think that he's making things up. I mean, it doesn't to me come across as that in any way. I know people want to call him a liar and kind of put him in that category because of what he did, but I don't hear it. I don't hear lies. I heard lies the day he tried to lie about all of it. He sounded like a liar to me then, but not this time. This sounded like a guy that wanted to help because what else is he gonna do? Thanks, Lorraine. Jennifer, you are so kind and rational. I'm trying to be, Lorraine. People don't like what I have to say, and they write a lot of mean comments to me. So I'm trying to be, what's the word, diplomatic, as best as I can. I told Eric, I'm really tired, and I'm a little concerned that I'm not prepared enough for this, and I'm a little concerned that people are going to be mad at me. And I was really bummed that I didn't bring my notes, because I scribbled away like a crazy person today. Hey, C. Knowles, I'm so glad you joined. But I think I've kind of remembered most of it. I had like things sorry, my phone was frozen. I had things that he had said word for word, and I just kind of like to, it's kind of like it'd be awesome if I could just play some of the audio and then talk about it, but I'm not that technically savvy. I think I read most of what they said on People. After loading his truck with his wife's body. Oh, this is in the house. At the house, Bella asked, "Is Mommy okay?" And he says he told Bella and Celeste that Mommy would be fine. And he says as he drove to the oil site, Shannon, Bella, and Celeste, he was nervous, shaking, and didn't know what was going to happen. He knew at that moment that his life was completely changed. Yes. Without a doubt, everything had changed in a very short amount of time. I still can't believe that she didn't fight back in any way. That's very strange. Cadence says he does not have a mental illness. He is a sociopath. There is a difference. I wonder why they didn't ask him about that. Do you realize that there's people out there saying that you're a covert narcissist and you're a sociopath, and have you heard of these terms, and do you know anything about them, and do you think that you fit the category? I'm wondering if Cadence says yes, he has a personality disorder, not a mental illness, and Gamma Gay Guy says, Cadence, what? Wrong! Janie agrees with Mr. Don. It's funny, I kind of see the people that I know are sort of on my side. Not that, I mean, everyone deserves to have their point of view and their own ideas of because I don't want anyone telling me what I think is wrong. And this is how I feel. So everyone deserves to have their own opinion for sure. And I don't want to fight anybody on it, but it's probably not gonna sway me from how I feel. Did you get where he slipped up when asked about Facebook accounts, and his response was that Nikki didn't want her friends to look him up and find that Shannon was pregnant. Nikki didn't want her friends to look him up and find that. Meaning that Nikki knew she was pregnant. No, I didn't catch that. They're just buzzwords. Flawed plan, life couch. So you guys come up with some creative YouTube names. I don't know. I mean, I hate to say that, but I kind of feel like a lot of people just want to have words to be able to throw at him and say that this is what he is. But, you know, when I say that and people go, you need to watch this YouTuber and you need to read up on this and you don't know what you're talking about and you are a novice. And, well, maybe I am, but I am just going with my gut here. And I guess that pisses some people off. Wonder why Tammy, oh, it went up too fast. Wonder why I wanted to read that one about Tammy. I love talking about Tammy and Graham. Oh, did you hear that one part where Graham said it's really normal to have flirtations with people of the opposite sex at work and wonder about like what it might be like to be with them? I can still see where I was when I was driving into work at that point. I'm thinking, wow, Graham, that's pretty freaking awkward to mention right next to your female coworker. It was kind of funny in my head. I don't know if anybody else picked up on that. It's frustrating that people throw around diagnoses on people. We aren't psychologists, and for sure. And I am the first to say that I don't know what is wrong with him, but I feel in my gut that he had a momentary lapse of reality, but you know, and was running on fear and adrenaline, and I think he'd lost half his marbles during that time. I don't want to lighten it by saying that. Like, I shouldn't have said marbles, but you know, he just wasn't thinking clearly. Hubba hubba, Graham and Tammy. I know, right? That was kind of cracking me up. I'm like, awkward. Tammy giggled nervously. Ah! Graham, is there a lot of late nights discussing cases with Tammy, right? Oh, that's so funny. Oh, thank you, Annie. I've got, yeah, I guess Lori was already set up last time, so I didn't even like think of adding anybody else. Everyone's being chill, so I don't have enough people following me, I don't think, to create any kind of true drama on here. It's funny, I've had a shit ton of subscribers in the last 5 days, so I was attributing it all to Scott Peterson, Chris Watts. But then I looked at my HIV/AIDS story and pictures, and that has like 29,000 new views in the last like 48 hours. I'm like, oh, it's mostly like HIV people. I didn't realize it, or people seeking me because of the HIV stuff. But I don't know. There's probably some new Chris Watts people. I think they're following me more on Instagram. I've had a lot of Instagram people, and I can kind of tell. I know this sounds really bad, but I can kind of tell when it's like a Chris Watts person. There's a lot of women that like are about my age, and typically they're the ones that write back and say, I found you through a Chris Watts video. It's always very interesting. Let's see, sociopath is learned, psychopath you're born with. I did not know that, if that's true. Hi, Marcella, the newbie. Zach Davis, Lori Emma. Oh, wait. And he said something about, wait, I've only found just this channel. I asked an honest question about the content here. I am HIV positive. Hi, Zach. Me too. But not interested in Dr. Phil. Me neither. And I took my pill today. Make sure you take yours. Let's see. How's the shoulder doing? Oh, I have osteoarthritis in my neck. And so my fall aggravated that. They didn't know I had that until they took the x-ray and the MRI. I've got like these bone spurs or something in my neck. It's all due to age. I'm fucking old. So anyways, I have like bone spurs, and like when I fell off after the chairlift on my tush, it like aggravated that area, and it like Eric, if you're listening, I have a bone, or not a bone, I have not a disc herniation, but a disc protrusion. Was that what it was? Like, what's the freaking difference? Huh? Oh, hi. I'm just a YouTube live. Hi. If you could only see the setup, like, beyond me, it's really funny. There's a big light in my camera and a laptop on my lap. Yeah. I know, it looks funny in here. I have a bulge, that was it. I have a disc bulge, so.
I thought you meant a wiener.
Yeah, I've got a huge bulge. Yeah, well, most people, all the people that write on my YouTube channel that think I'm a man,
The bulges in my neck. I'm not a man. Sorry I have a deep voice. I'm a tall lady. Eric can definitely confirm I'm not a man. Right, Eric, if you're still there? Tammy laughed and said, "Oh, you're not like that, Graham." When he related to Chris about something, I was like, "Uh-oh." Ew, ew. That's funny. Again, when Graham wanted a little more information on Shannon touching his leg and that whole action, because that's when it and by the way, like, that's like the fact that they had sex when like they'd been like fighting and he's having an affair and they would just went and he kind of acted like that was real normal. I'm like, I don't know. I thought that was kind of awesome. Like if they like if that was their relationship before, it's sad to me. Like it sounded like they had a really good marriage for a long time, really, because like in the midst of all of that, they decided to have sex. Like, wow, that was really surprising to me. But anyways, Graham was saying, you know, wanting to know more about that from Chris, getting the details about it. He's like, oh yeah, I getcha, I getcha. So like that, I'm like, Graham, that's a little too much. I don't want to know how much you understand that. I don't want to be thinking about you getting that rub on your leg. I don't know, it just was weird to me. Felt so terrible after hearing that interview. The son of a bitch had sex with his wife before breaking her heart, then killing her. I know the whole thing. There was a lot of passion involved in all of that. I mean, like she was saying, or intimacy. Like she was saying, like it's a very intimate act. All of it was very intimate, and yeah, like, God, I'm right here. My kids call me all the time, you know, when they're 10 feet away. Oh my God, Eric, so funny. Me have conversations in front of 129 people. You had pizza tonight. Good for you. I'm glad you had pizza. I had pasta. Yeah, you don't need to say anything. You've said it. I don't even know what you're referring to, so maybe I'm missing something. Let's see. Eric, yummy. This is an educational opportunity about Chris Watts because it is so important to understand behavior. It could save a life. Research. I agree. But how common is what he did? Would it happen again? Like, how common is something like this? I'm wondering. Tammy asked if it was missionary. Okay, I did miss that. Why did she have a bra on during sex? She still had her makeup on. I mean, he did talk about that. Yes, Chris does sound dumb. He does. He's a simple guy, like simple-minded, and it's like he did something really strong and like hard and mean that it's like he's never done something like that ever. And again, it's like I kind of get it in the midst of the whole thing with Shannon only because it was his wife and that's a different relationship. But the girls, I just don't think will ever understand that at all. And I don't think he even does. He said she usually kept her shirt on. Oh, okay. You know, I heard Nicole Atkinson say something too about Shannon wanting to relieve stress I don't know what I want to say. Like, it's like, I feel bad that we even know so much about their sex life. It's a little bit weird. You found it ridiculous that she asked that. Some men prefer women in underwear. I just read that was my boyfriend who wrote that. And she have her knickers on if she had sex. She had a G-string on after, maybe. I mean, I don't know. Like I don't know enough about that to answer that. I agree. Was there any autopsy done? And I mean, did they check her for semen? I mean, I don't know if they did. There's more questions, Tammy. You're gonna have to go back. Lorraine, salute. It's from Eric. It's John. Pull him to the side. Oh my God. Some of us put underwear on back after sex. This is funny. And you couldn't take it anymore, and then she said, you will never see the kids again, yeah. And Kevin, good, I'm glad you're on prep. Love you tons back. I've seen your name before for sure. Because I'm calling you Kevin, but it says K3 Vin. So that's Kevin. If mental illness can be cured, as stated here, pharmaceutical companies would be hurting. I don't know, maybe we should wrap this up. This is an hour and 15 minutes. I don't know. How do you guys feel? They couldn't check for semen because of expelling the baby in her uterus. Oh, shit. I would want to believe that, but if they're able to do an autopsy when a body's been in oil for 3 days, why couldn't they still check for semen if... I feel like they still should be able to. But I don't know. Maybe you're right. Ugh. What could be more horrible than what he said? He did apologize to both Tammy and Graham. What could be more horrible than what he said? Yes, he did apologize to both of them. Yeah. I mean, for those who haven't heard it, you gotta listen to it. Really. It might make you have a different perspective. My house is freaking freezing right now, by the way. That's partly why I want to go and go take a bath. The heater doesn't come into my room. I don't know why it never has. But I'm really cold right now. I'm gonna hold the big fat kitty. He's right here and he's gonna warm me up. And I'm just reading what you guys are all saying to each other. I just think it's so messed up. He had sex with his pregnant wife first. It is. He was too much of a selfish coward to say, no, we need to talk. Of course, she thought everything was okay when he slept with her. Yeah. Hey, Dino, you're sort of coming into this at the end. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Trudy. Yeah, it's not in my nature to want to fight with people at all, but I have my way of feeling about this, and I'm trying to tread lightly and let everyone have their own opinions and feelings without me putting it on everybody. I don't want to fight about this with anybody, but I truly feel that he had a mental breakdown in a moment and everything. Well, thanks, Jeebus. My boyfriend's comment is like right above that. By the way, that's my boyfriend right above there. Anyways, I think it was a mental breakdown in that moment. I think I worded it better earlier, but I think he was not in his right mind. My cat's awesome. Yeah. People are speaking. Oh, Eric, I saw the guy from Montreal last night at Cirque du Soleil. It's the same guy. He was there. And he didn't go through the hoop. Remember when they were doing the 3 spinning? He messed up twice. He got it the 3rd time. My kids were really excited to hear he was from Montreal. Am I going to keep doing true crime? I haven't truly done it. I really haven't. I haven't picked a story and told it because I'm a little afraid to, like, honestly, it's one of those things, like, if I do it, I'm putting myself out there for a lot of criticism, and it's kind of terrifying. So I'm not sure that I don't know that I'm cut out to do it. Part of me wants to do it because it's a nice break from HIV. No offense to HIV. People who follow me for that, but I really truly do get tired of talking about it sometimes, and it's been really like nice to have another outlet, and not that I wanted to have this outlet, and it's great that it's here, but it really has been something else to like talk about with people and share feelings about it and all that, and it's been nice to not talk about HIV, and so I don't know, I really don't. It's been in my mind for sure. My boyfriend is gorgeous. Yes, thank you. I just told him. I mean, I tell him all the time I have a crush on him. I have a crush on my boyfriend. Really. He's beautiful. The Patrick Frazee case, isn't it kind of like it's just over? Like, I feel everybody knows about it. It's kind of like it was sort of short. I mean, it's crazy, but it's still not. I don't know why it doesn't hit me the way the Chris Watts case does. Um, you're so nice, Annie. I don't know. I've had some people tell me that go back to what you do best and talk about HIV and stop trying to like be a true crime person. And I'm like, I wasn't trying to do anything. I was just talking about something that interested me, and I wasn't trying to copy anybody or anything like that. I just was just putting my feelers out there to see, he is so sweet. He is so sweet. Eric is such a good person. I can't say that enough. He's a very good person, and he's made me see things, differently in life. Dawn, I have a small crush on my ex-girlfriend still. Oh, that's cute. That's sweet. Kevin, just before you go, so you see this. Good night, Ma. Good night, son. He calls me his mom because I told that kid to start taking his medication, get his ass in gear, and he's, oh, stay beautiful. You're amazing and such a wonderful woman. You're truly a blessing to a lot of us for letting us reach out to you. Thanks, Kevin. And you know what? There's a woman that reached out to me recently who was like literally 8 years into the virus and had not gotten help. And she saw my video and reached out to me. And we've been in communication. And she's been to the doctor now. And she's already like starting her medication. And she was like a CD4 count, like really low, like a 20 something, I think. She's joining my private group. Like everything's turning around. It's like, that blows my mind. Blows my mind. Like, so it makes me so happy. Eric can ice skate. Dude, it's like enough that I get to see. Well, the first time I saw Eric snowboard, I was like, I had to like sit down. And I didn't know how to snowboard at the time. I knew he could ski. I've seen him skate. I've seen him surf. These are like very like amazing things. And now he sends me a video, just a little video of him skating, ice skating, which is something he's known how to do forever. And our names are generic. Jen and Eric. Oh, generic. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Ramondo, Mitch. Eric, did you see that? Jen and Eric. We are generic. Oh my God, that is hysterical. We could so do something with that, but you have to change the G to a J, but that is so good. Freaking A, I love that. Anyways, yeah, he'll be back tomorrow. We'll have to do another live with him here. But anyways, he sends me this little tiny video clip of him skating. He just does a turn. He does a little hockey puck action, and then he comes around and stops right in front of the camera. And I think it was on his Instagram story or something. What do you need?
When are we going to the store?
Oh, I'm going to be off very soon.
Are you streaming?
Yes. I'll be off
Can I
soon.
stay here?
No, go. No, go. Owen, go. Okay, anyways, I'm just going to say I've watched that video like maybe... I'm not kidding. Probably 25, 30 times. And every time I rewatch it and I'm like, I can't believe he knows how to do that. Like, I can ice skate a little bit, but I can't turn like that. I could never stop like that. Like, those are all things he learned when he was a kid, and I just like watch it with gigantic hearts in my eyes. I just think it's... And the funny thing is no matter how much I go off on like how crazy and amazing he is and how beautiful and all that, he never, ever... he doesn't show any signs of like being full of himself. Never. And he's always been like that. He doesn't, I don't know. Generic, that's freaking crazy. The cheesy romantic wedding song, generic. Oh my gosh, that is funny. Oh, Jen, I wish you could do live chats every day with a tear in your eye. Well, they're fun. I really do like doing them. It's a way easier thing to do than making a video. I'd prefer just to do a live chat every day. Could I do that? Could I just do a live chat with everybody and just like forget making the videos? Because the videos are a pain in the butt. I've like done enough. There's like 125 of them. Isn't that enough? Did you hear that? That was Finn. He's mad at me. Do you need dog food? Do you need dog food? He's had it. He doesn't want the dry stuff anymore. Janie, yes! Yes! Yes. Oh, see, Eric, we need to have a podcast.
Yes, David, free CW.
Jeez.
We have a really, we have a pretty cool thing. Okay, oh my God. Okay, Finn, I know. Just do live chats. Everyone can still go back and view them. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I don't mind being, I mean, I don't mind so much being on the camera thing, but sometimes it's like, ugh, you don't know how many times I have to set up that light to make sure I don't have like a gazillion shadows showing that I'm not so happy about. It's not easy. Okay. I'm gonna go. Eric, get back home. He's gonna be back here tomorrow night, but it'll be late. Thanks for educating all of us in the UK. You're welcome. Oh, and by the way, really quick. Oh, thanks. Thanks, but there's a nice little light here. I think it's helping. I did not get HIV from sleeping with a lot of people. Dave, Nix. I got it from an ex-boyfriend. We'd been together for almost a year. Stop. And he's somebody that I dated even back in the day. So he's like, he kind of came back into my life. No, it takes just one person. So anyways, yes, go start packing. Dave Nix got in trouble. He got a timeout. It's okay. I don't mind answering that. It's a common question. And by the way, this cure, everyone's like sending me, I'm not even kidding. I'm being so funny. People send me the article about this man that was cured and the second man that was cured. It's a bone marrow procedure. It's nothing that's like practical at all. And anyways, it's not a cure. It's not a cure. And so everyone's like excited about it and all that, but it's really nothing. And we just have to keep taking our medication, and it's not a practical cure at all. There's the boy. He's like, lady, go get me my food. I don't like the dry stuff. I want the wet stuff. Huh, Finny? So anyway, yeah, I've kind of been like ignoring the whole cure, all these articles. Believe me, it's funny, even like 3 days later, sorry about my hand, people will send me, an article and say, did you see this? Have you seen this? I'm like, yeah, I've seen the article about 1,001 times. I've had some people who are advocates. Well, somebody who wrote to me and they said, if I get one more effing article sent to me about the cure, because we all know it's not a practical cure. I want the wet stuff. That's what she said. Who said that? Oh my God, I did say that. He wants the wet stuff. Yeah, he likes the wet dog food. Look, oh, Feeny. Oh, Feeny. Look at his little legs when I scratch his back. Look at this, is so cute. Wait, let me do your arms. Get on your back. Get on your back. Do your little bat arms. Do your little bat arms. Oh. Look, I feel like he's looking at everybody. Look at, there's the bat arms. Isn't that cute? He's like in a total like trance. Look at Fanny. Oh my God. He's just a little boy. He's just a little boy. He's so cute. Okay, dogs are the best. Joe has arrived, ladies. I love it. Joe Suave. This would be a good place it'd be fun to have people like, find people on here. A little dating site on my lives. He is a cute boy. Okay. All right. I'm going to go. And, yeah, Eric and I will be back. Eric, let's do a live on Saturday. I know. Owen's at the door. He's like, can we go to the store? Yeah, gotta go to the store. Look at, he's still feel like he's aware. Look at, he totally knows. He knows. He's looking at you guys. It's so cute. Say goodnight, Feeny. Say goodnight. Oh. Okay, good night, you guys. Thanks for this awesome live, and yeah, we'll chat more later. Nighty night. Bye bye.